Hey, all right, welcome back to Brighter Rays, and we're looking at 2 Corinthians 6:17 through 18 as our main text, but we're really focusing in just on the idea of going out and being separate is what Paul took that Old Testament passage and brings it here into the New and says, hey, this is what you still need to do. We still need to be about. The church, whether it's in the Old Testament or New Testament, has always been about being separate from the world, and it's still the same thing today. Now, how do we have victory in this area? How do we do this? Well, first we have to have a right heart. We need a right heart about it. If your heart is evil, if you still love this present world, you can't have victory over this. It's not going to work, right? You will not go out and be separate. You will be a part of this world. So Demas is case in point. He was still in love with this present world. He hadn't gone out and separated from the world, and so he couldn't have victory over this. He couldn't succeed in this because he wasn't separate. Number two is you have to have a strong and growing faith. If you're going to go out and be separate, you have to have a faith, first of all, which is the first part, but you also need to have a strong and growing faith. Otherwise, you're just going to keep wallowing in the world's filth all the time. Like, hey, and God gives you that. And that's one of the things you need to pray and ask for. That's one of the things he's promised to give, right? It's not one of the things that you're asking him to give you something that he's already promised to give. So just ask for it. Mark 9:23 says, and Jesus said to him, if you can, all things are possible for the one who believes. So the guy said, if you can get rid of this unclean spirit out of my son, and he says, if you can, okay. All things are possible who believes. And then he says, I believe, help my unbelief in verse 23. So that's the idea, like, yeah, I believe, help my unbelief. That's the prayer we should pray all the time. Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. Help this unbelief that's causing me problems. Give me a strong and growing faith in this so I can be separate from the world. I don't want to think the way the world thinks. Help me overcome this. Help me overcome these thoughts. Help me take every thought captive to Christ and destroy this. And then we're supposed to confess Christ whenever appropriate. Yes, there's inappropriate times to confess Christ, but there's